As Hurricane Katrina pounds Louisiana and Mississippi, stay with 11 News for the most complete coverage of this killer storm. Live reports throughout the day and night, showing you the latest pictures of the devastation. From the eye of the storm to Katrina's impact on Houston, 11 News has more reporters covering this story from every angle. And turn to hurricane expert Dr. Neil Frank for the most reliable track of Katrina. For the most up-to-the-minute coverage of Katrina, trust 11 News. Now, 11 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Sherman Chow.
And I'm Vicente Arenas in Louisiana on assignment tonight. Today our crews venture into downtown New Orleans, that convention center that everyone's been talking about. We talk to the people there. It is a place where hope and frustration go hand in hand. More on that in a moment.
But first, hurricane-weary survivors leave deplorable conditions at the New Orleans Convention Center after days without food or water. Storm victims settle in at the George R. Brown, the city's newest shelter, and the Astrodome. The never-ending search for loved ones continues. There are now more than 220,000 evacuees in Texas, and the governor says he fears our state cannot handle any more. We begin tonight in Louisiana, where the help so many have been desperately waiting for finally arrived today. Thousands who had been stranded in and around the downtown New Orleans Convention Center for the past week got help. Vicente was there as air-conditioned buses pulled up to carry them to safety. Vicente?
Yeah, Sherman, that help is starting to roll in, but there are so many people there that are still trying to get out. And what is so sad about what we're seeing is that these are some very elderly people, people who can barely fend for themselves, people who can barely walk. Here's some of what we saw. They are the tiny and frail.
This is hard. I've been here better than a week.
You're waiting for a bus like this one coming behind me.
Some kind of bus. Bus was here last night, but it didn't take us nowhere.
She is among the many who've been waiting for help at the New Orleans Convention Center.
We didn't get any food until yesterday when they started dropping the food down from the helicopters.
I'm gonna just break it down to the real reality, you know. They're not gonna get everybody out. Some of these people that are living right now, they're gonna get left behind.
No one, if you can walk, wants to get left behind. What's it been like trying to get all your stuff to the interstate, to the chopper?
I'm a mover, so it ain't gonna be hard. I just have to, you know what I mean? I just have to lighten this load here and I'll be able to wheel and deal.
Warren Miner is one of the few looking at the bright side.
They don't even do this in third world countries. They go out there and they save people over there. You know what I'm saying? We stay in the United States, dog. At least what I thought was the United States. And look how they doing us.
When you're in charge, I'll let you do that, okay?
Rescue workers and guards say they're doing all they can.
We've got about 15 people total.
The problem is people are still stranded all over the city. We're about a mile or two from the convention center where thousands of people are still waiting to be evacuated. If you look down this way, you can see that water is standing still on both sides of the street. And just a few minutes ago, we heard several gunshots in the area, so the situation still very, very stressful.
Someone has to bring us. There needs to be wheels. And I'm waiting to see if there is some military vehicle that picks people up or what, I don't know.
It could be days or perhaps weeks before the rescues end. Some will walk rather than wait. And some of those people reportedly are walking to interstates hoping to catch a ride to a place where they can get some kind of help. And I know that those reports have been coming out that there's all kinds of help coming in, but I tell you, there's still a number of people that are stuck in downtown New Orleans at this time tomorrow morning. We'll be going back to check on them. Reporting live from Baton Rouge, Vicente Arenas, 11 News.
And here in Houston, Governor Rick Perry is saying with Texas taking in about 250,000 evacuees, that the state is nearing its capacity. The governor has contacted federal and Louisiana officials and asked them to divert storm victims to other states. But tonight, Houston is doing all it can to make evacuees comfortable. The largest group housed in the Astrodome. But many people will not rest easy until they find their loved ones. 11 News reporter Jason Whiteley tells us that he has witnessed a very happy reunion this evening. Jason?
Oh, Sherman, right now, many evacuees rather, are starting to settle in here at the Astrodome, realizing they could be here for weeks. But some are on their way out tonight. We did witness a couple of reunions this evening between family members who are just discovering loved ones who are alive. If you think the evacuees are desperate,
we're looking for my Aunt Lynn Honoré, my Aunt Yvonne, Samaya Borden, Joyce Borden.
Meet those who came to Houston looking for lost loved ones.
They were last on the roof in New Orleans East on Tuesday night on the roof of the house.
Right now I have 20 people at my house in Orange Park, Florida, and I'm trying to find the rest of my family.
Diane Kelly flew in from Florida trying to find her big brother.
I know they was in the attic. I don't know where they are now. I have not seen any of them yet. I saw my brother's picture out here, and I'm trying to find him now among these people.
There are many more like her inside the Astrodome.
I'm looking for my family, my whole family. My kids gone, my grandmother, my uncle. I don't have no one, just me.
5,000 of Katrina's victims have claimed cots on the floor. They are among the fortunate ones. 11,000 others are sleeping in the stadium seats, waiting for scenes like this, to find family and to find out they survived the hurricane too.
I came looking and I saw her. It's my cousin. This is beautiful.
Hello? Yeah, what, Cookie, where are you?
Diane Kelly's big brother finally called.
Why you have on a white shirt? And what else? Huh? Okay, I got on a green blouse.
Lewis Nelson was just around the corner.
You're so crazy. I thought I lost you.
He's here, so are his grandkids.
You made it out. Hello, Brian.
The Nelsons thought they could ride out the hurricane, but they ended up getting rescued.
I told you to get out. You wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, I swear, I'll never do make that mistake no more. She called me all the way till the phones went out.
Diane Kelly is flying them all back to Florida. $1,500 she spent for 7 Southwest tickets. So thankful she found family, but still looking for more. Right now, Diane Kelly is trying to find about 40 more relatives. She has no idea where they are, if they are even in Houston, much less even Texas. The Red Cross tells us it doesn't yet know how many reunions have happened here like the Kellys did tonight, nor when a database of all the evacuees who are spending the night here at the Astrodome will be complete, so loved ones can hopefully tap into that and find them. Later in this newscast, though, we'll tell you specifically what kind of volunteers are needed out here at the Astrodome and how you can drop off donations and help those in need who are relocated here to Houston. That's later on in this newscast. For now, reporting live, Jason Whiteley, 11 News.
All right, congratulations, Diane Kelly. Well, the newest shelter to open in the Houston area is at the George R. Brown Convention Center downtown, and that is where we find 11 News reporter Wendell Edwards with more on life inside the GRB. Wendell?
Sherman, when the George R. Brown Convention Center opened last night, it became a shelter. About 200 people were brought here. Now that number is closer to 2,000 people. As people from Louisiana learn about their home away from home, because these are people literally with nowhere else to go. They arrived by the busload, straight from the hurricane-wrecked New Orleans, Louisiana. They are the latest evacuees to land in Houston. Tired, weary, and worn, and to their delight, welcome.
It's beautiful just to get out of New Orleans with all that catastrophe. We had to go through so much to get through out of there.
How many days were you?
We was out there for 6 days.
They left the only home they ever knew for a city they know nothing about. Their new home, the George R. Brown Convention Center, now a shelter. The first stop, the medical triage for people in need of health care.
It's actually a very good MASH clinic. I mean, it's we've got we've got primary care, we've got pediatricians, family medicine, internists. We've got 10 rooms, I guess, for medicine.
And it's set up to handle emergencies and medical conditions of all kinds, like Darlene Cusimano's arm. She walked around with it broken for days.
They're sending me right now to Harmon Hospital to get pins put in it.
The George R. Brown was turned into a shelter literally overnight. Mayor Bill White says in the end it will hold 7,000 evacuees in all, mostly those just arriving in Houston.
Some of those who are the last out are those who may be in the most desperate need.
A need that is being met and more. In this donation center is an acre of Houston hospitality. People are donating whatever they can just to help wherever it's needed.
You know, it's the only thing I can do right now. You know, if I had $5 million, I'd give $5 million. But what I've got now, me and my co-workers, we got together and we donated as much as we could today. But we'll be back for more. And this is just the first rumble.
Now, we've also learned about 800 people who were brought here from shelters that have closed down. Those were the people from the first wave of evacuees about a week ago. They've been brought here too, mainly because of the medical triage to make sure they have the medical treatment that they deserve. Now, coming up later in this newscast, find out what items evacuees need here the most. We're live in downtown. Wendell Edwards, 11 News.
And if you would like to help at the GRB, you can get trained over at Second Baptist Church on Woodway. They're organizing an interfaith effort to help staff the convention center's food service. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. they will have a mass training session. Some 6,000 people are expected. Christians, Jews, Muslims, everyone is welcome. And other volunteer jobs include directing traffic, handing out clothing, and handing out food. Folks will work in 4-hour shifts and do not need an ID unless they are a medical professional and want to help treat evacuees. For more information, you can call the volunteer hotline that is set up by Volunteer Houston. Their number is 713-965-0031. 11 News reporter KHOU Wynn spent the day with some of those who gave up this Saturday and got so much more in return.
These are not the evacuees of Hurricane Katrina, but the Houstonians lending a huge helping hand.
Teamwork for Texas.
From the Army reservists who directed traffic.
I came here with my unit, some of our people help out. We're just trying to help everybody out. I don't care what time we leave.
To the suburban father who shuffled food and supplies.
We wanted to come kind of here where the ground zero is for Houston. More huggies coming up.
No complaints here, just acts of kindness.
That's what I do. I'm in the Army. I serve the people of the United States, and this is what I want to do on my off time, help out more than I can.
As you can see, people from all walks of life are volunteering. We are told at least 9,000 people were processed today, and the processing continues.
We'll see you, man. Bye.
He's the man responsible for assigning the volunteers.
Unloading trucks from Walmart, from CVS Pharmacy. I mean, it's just beautiful.
Michelle Morris was among the human chain of help, ready to assist.
These people didn't ask for this. It's just Mother Nature.
Here at Reliant Park, when help was needed, Houstonians responded. KHOU Wynn, 11 News.
HISD is now helping with the evacuation of New Orleans after getting an urgent request from Louisiana state officials. A convoy of 135 HISD buses left Houston tonight for that ravaged area. HISD police officers and mechanics are also going to help with security and repairs. Once in New Orleans, each bus will take about 50 evacuees to shelters. A large group of Texas National Guardsmen arrived in Houston today. They left this morning from San Antonio. 50 of them will be deployed in the Houston area to help with relief efforts. The rest only stopped at Houston's Armory to refuel and gear up. They're going to be heading to areas hit hard by Katrina. The airlifts continue today in New Orleans. Rescuers plucked a child from the balcony of a home Saturday. The boy was clinging to a rescuer as he was lifted to a helicopter. U.S. Navy is also part of the airlift rescues, pulling the stranded and suffering off of roofs and out of high water. Officials say nearly 4,000 people were airlifted out of the city yesterday alone. That brings the total to more than 25,000 air rescues since Katrina came ashore. Late today, officials said that many people had died not as a result of the storm, but in the days after from lack of food, water, and medical attention. And still more problems for New Orleans. This morning, 2 more fires broke out. One of them engulfed an industrial stretch on the river waterfront, and another burned a mall. A boat hosed down the waterfront blaze, but firefighters gave up battling flames threatening to consume the shops at Canal Place. A group of Louisiana evacuees say that they are not going back to that state. Instead, they're relocating to Denver. 21 evacuees who had been staying in Houston shelters left Bush Intercontinental Airport this afternoon. They got an offer they could not refuse. The move was made possible by Denver resident John Butler. He says after watching all of the horrific images on television, he knew he just had to do something.
Fortunately, I was able to come here and get some people out of this horrible situation, but there are other people out there who can help just as well by donating money to the Red Cross and just being involved in that regards in terms of financial contributions.
Butler made arrangements with Frontier Airlines to fly the group to Denver. Other business leaders stepped forward to put them up in hotels for up to a year if needed. They'll get money and help finding jobs. The evacuees say after losing all they had in Louisiana, this is just what they need to get a fresh start. The Reverend Al Sharpton was in Houston today, calling on all clergy to help with the relief efforts. He says moral leaders have an obligation to fill in the gap and provide what the federal government has not. He called on ministers to ask people to open their homes to the overflow of evacuees who can't stay at the Astrodome and GRB.
We want to give a proper funeral in Louisiana, in New Orleans, a mass funeral to those that lost their lives. They should not just be nameless, faceless people that just were buried by nature on the side of the road.
Sharpton also spoke today with former President Bill Clinton discussing ways to raise more relief funds. Coming up next on 11 News at 10, turning New Orleans airport into a makeshift hospital. We'll have a live report on patients being triaged. In Mississippi, bringing in the basics, truckloads of water arrive in the nick of time. Good news for evacuees who feared they'd be forced from the one place they've started to call home. And the place Houston goes to play is now the place to drop off much-needed items. Those who are elderly and sick continue to be transported to the New Orleans airport where they are being triaged. 11 News reporter Jeff McShann is there live again with more on a makeshift hospital there. Jeff?
That's right, Sherman. Not only the sick, but just about everybody is coming through here now. We are told by the Coast Guard that 10 helicopters are landing per minute. It is unbelievable to see some of the people come off of these helicopters, many of them that have been wet all the way up to their chests, but now they are on higher ground.
It says the left lane is open for New Orleans. The right is for those who want to get the heck out, here at the New Orleans airport. As the sun began to fall, the helicopters just kept coming and coming, unloading people that have been stranded, helpless for days, wondering if this moment would ever come. The evacuees that are here include the sick. More than you can imagine need medical attention.
No, I just want to get out of this building and get back on with my life.
Oh, I can't wait to get some help. I need help.
While this is the first step to starting their lives over, there is sadness everywhere.
It's a little after 8 o'clock and we are downstairs from the terminals. And as you can see down here, there are literally thousands and thousands of people, most of them just getting off the helicopters that you saw earlier. But all these people have to wait in line before they can register. And what they probably don't know is that they're going to be here for hours.
This small door is where they, one by one, enter the airport terminal. Once inside, they sit again, waiting to get registered for a flight, destination unknown.
How long have you guys been here? Over a day, or what's going on?
No, we got here today. We got here today, but the process has been tedious.
They have a lot to be thankful for. They made it this far. Some did not. This is the morgue, where there are many dead, and believe it or not, dying, all being kept in the same place. The airport is a place of two worlds tonight, one of death, tragedy, and despair, and one of hope.
One of hope, definitely. There is human spirit out here, and you can see, you may not be able to see behind me, it's so dark, but you can probably hear the choppers. They've been coming and going all night long. This several days after the storm has come and gone. People still being rescued from rooftops. Live in New Orleans, Jeff McShann, 11 News.
We can hear it, Jeff. Mississippi is getting 2 special deliveries to help with hurricane relief efforts. The first came this morning to Biloxi. The other will arrive later at Keesler Air Force Base. In Biloxi, troops brought in cases of water to hand out to victims. The devastated town also got word of another delivery. The Air Force says 300 airmen from Keesler will be sent home from Iraq and Afghanistan. They'll be able to help their families cope with the aftermath of the storm. The base took a direct hit from Katrina, which wiped out much of its housing and other infrastructure. This was the scene all along the coast of Mississippi today. Hundreds of people were in line well before dawn at any open gas station, and they just want to fill up. Because there's little or no power, gas is very hard to find west of Biloxi. Some Mississippi residents who have enough fuel to begin with are driving into Alabama and even Florida to gas up. More evacuees from New Orleans arrived in Nashville, Tennessee today. Yesterday, Tennessee's governor said there were more than 12,000 evacuees in that state. About 10,000 of them are in Memphis. And some evacuees were upset after their shelter locally was nearly closed today. Families staying at the Gloria Dei Lutheran Church were told this morning that they would have to all move to Reliant Park or the GRB, a part of a consolidation effort. Well, many of the evacuees weren't happy. Some had found jobs and others enrolled their kids in local schools.
We just fell in love with these people. These people has catered to us, I mean, day and night. I mean, they're giving us sheets and cover and food and water, and they have been so generous.
Organizers eventually decided to keep that shelter open. That after even more evacuees began arriving from areas hit by Hurricane Katrina. And federal officials are chartering 3 Carnival cruise ships to shelter people displaced by Hurricane Katrina. The Ecstasy, Sensation, and Holiday will be pulled from regular use for 6 months, and they'll shelter as many as 7,000 people. Ecstasy and Sensation will be pulled from service Monday and dock in Galveston. The Holiday will likely dock in Mobile, Alabama. Coming up, we travel by boat to one of the devastated areas in South Louisiana, and signs of hope and recovery as some power is restored and relief moves in. As we said, help finally came in a big way to New Orleans today. Buses, helicopters, boats, trains, and airplanes moved hurricane victims out of some of the city's now filthy shelters and hospitals. Susan Roberts reports from Kenner, Louisiana.
Helicopters by the droves swarmed into New Orleans Saturday, carrying out the sick, pregnant, and elderly.
This is probably the biggest civilian airlift in the history of the United States, but this is unprecedented.
But many say it came too late, nearly a week after Hurricane Katrina came ashore, and only now the evacuation effort has picked up steam.
Line up.
Buses loaded up the last of the nearly 20,000 people at the New Orleans Superdome. Left behind piles of trash and filth.
Most of those here at the convention center tell us they're the forgotten ones. Day after day, they've been sitting here in hopes the next day might be their lucky one.
Nobody didn't even know we was back here. We've been back here 5 days. Dead bodies, babies dead, children getting raped.
But by Saturday evening, most of the 30,000 at the center had been evacuated, taking with them few possessions but plenty of nightmares.
I broke down today. It's more hell than we've ever been through.
Paramedics used shopping carts or anything else they could find to move and treat the sick. At the airport, doctors triaged thousands before putting them on airplanes to other cities. And in the flooded suburbs, many trudged through the polluted waters, while overhead crews plucked people off roofs. At least 5,000 have been rescued this way so far, and there is no way to tell how many more still need to be saved, and for how many it's too late.
And there are still so many people on rooftops, in apartment buildings, in hotels, people in the lower lying areas of Louisiana, like in Plaquemines and St. Bernard parishes, who have not been rescued. It will be an ongoing effort. Where they'll go, no one exactly knows. There are over 200,000 evacuees in the state of Texas right now. Where the remaining ones will go, we'll have to see over the next few days. Live just outside New Orleans, I'm Susan Roberts. Now back to you.
Thank you, Susan. And it's images like those that have led to unprecedented generosity, especially here in Texas and particularly from Houstonians. If you want to take a look, you do not have to look any further than the GRB. Right, Wendell?
That's exactly right, Sherman. Here at the George R. Brown Convention Center, some conventions have been canceled, others postponed, as the convention center itself becomes a shelter for the latest Louisiana evacuees. The convention center literally became a shelter overnight, and as of now, it is holding about 2,000 people, but has room for 7,000. The shelter includes a playground and a movie theater, and even a healthcare triage for those in need of medical attention. But it's the sheer volume of donations that some say helps put this situation in perspective. People are giving whatever they can to help for this overwhelming need.
It's the only thing I can do right now. You know, if I had $5 million, I'd give $5 million. But what I've got now, me and my co-workers, we got together and we donated as much as we could today. But we'll be back for more. This is just the first rumble.
Officials tell us volunteers are needed here the most. We're told that you can actually come down to the George R. Brown Convention Center. You will go through an orientation and they will put you to work. Now, I teased what exactly items are needed here the most. There are two. They're very simple: cots and air mattresses. Just a place for these people to lay their heads. We're live in downtown Houston. Wendell Edwards, 11 News.
Six Flags Astroworld is reaching out to help victims of Hurricane Katrina with a clothing and food drive. Items can be dropped off at the Parks Administration Building on Kirby and West Belford. They need bottled water, non-perishable food items, clothing, cleaning supplies. That drive will run from Tuesday at 10 a.m. from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. The Astroworld Park itself will be closed this weekend. 11 News reporter Jeff McShann joins us live again from the New Orleans airport, where they are caring for the sick and injured there. And Jeff, earlier today, you spoke with Dr. Frist, Bill Frist, the Senate Majority Leader. What was his reaction, both as a physician and a senator, to the response to this emergency?
It's funny that you would ask that question. We brought that up to him today, and basically he backed the federal government, saying that the delay was unavoidable. There was just too many obstacles, communications, that sort of meeting. In fact, he pointed out that one side of the airport couldn't talk to the other side of the airport with cell phones, but you would think that they would have some sort of a communication, whether it be two-way radios or satellite telecommunications to talk to each other. But he didn't seem to be upset about it at all. He just said we got to move forward and continue helping the sick. He said time is of the essence, and certainly is. As you can probably hear behind me, the helicopters continue to come in. Earlier, as we mentioned, they're coming in about 10 per minute here much of the day and into the evening, dropping off evacuees from all over the New Orleans area. Many of them coming off the helicopter, they go right onto the baggage cart, the trains that you see that bring your baggage to the terminals. That's what they've been putting the people on. They bring them up here close, and that's when they get off, and that's when we get a good look at who they're taking off of these helicopters here this afternoon and into the evening. And you see a lot of them. Some of them were wearing life jackets, life preservers, and were extremely wet, no shoes, blood on their feet. It was just heartbreaking to watch this, and you know, to imagine that they've been in this position for 4 or 5 days is just really unimaginable. But that's what's going on here. They continue to bring the evacuees in at this hour, and they've got some 10 to 13,000 people downstairs and up in the terminal. They're trying to fly them out to different cities all across the United States. Back to you, Sherman.
All right, thank you, Jeff. And 11 News reporter Jason Whiteley is live at the Astrodome, where our guests are preparing to spend another night. Jason?
No doubt, Sherman. Right now, let's give you an indication of just how fluid the situation is here at the Astrodome. Take a look over here. There are 10 coach buses, big buses over here, air-conditioned buses that have lined up, arrived here within the last hour or so. Reportedly here to load up 600 evacuees and take them to another Texas destination. It is unclear exactly where right now. We have heard San Antonio, we have heard Austin, though we have not confirmed either location. Let's go inside the Astrodome, where many of these people are spending the night. 16,000 are inside the Astrodome. Organizers tell us they are grateful for the outpouring of volunteers. The first 15 hours of this day, 2,600 people were here, including 170 medical volunteers. Now, the Red Cross is telling us it has enough medical volunteers here until Tuesday. At one point, we were told by organizers there were 4 doctors to every patient here. There is a need for other people down here, 2,500 at any given time, but no one under 18 can volunteer here. Organizers want us to point this out. You cannot bring your teenage children or anyone else down here under 18 to volunteer. Now for donations, don't bring anything here. There is no drop-off site at the Astrodome. If you have something you want to give to these people in need, take it to the food bank, to the Goodwill, or the United Way. There are 90 FEMA staff members in Houston here to help evacuees apply and receive federal financial assistance. And we want to clarify one other thing. On 11 News at 6 tonight, Houston police detectives were telling us that there was a report and they were investigating the sexual assault of a boy who was evacuated here to the Astrodome. Tonight, we can tell you that investigators say this wasn't true. Now, back out here live, evacuees are settling in at the Astrodome, a home they could likely have for several weeks. Sherman, back to you.
All right, Jason, and thank you. Good to point out that the GRB as well as Reliant Park is asking not to give donated goods at those locations anymore.
Now, 11 News at 5:30.
Good evening, I'm Sherman Chow. Vicente Arenas is on assignment in New Orleans. Federal officials now say deaths from Hurricane Katrina will easily number in the thousands. This as rescuers spend another day plucking survivors from rooftops. Houston officials address health concerns as some evacuees come down with illnesses. Governor Rick Perry says that Texas has reached its limit with about 250,000 evacuees. Additional storm victims will now be airlifted to other states. And there is a growing concern about illness and disease springing up among evacuees seeking care in Houston. 11 News reporter Mike Zentek joins us live from the Astrodome with more on this. Mike?
Well, Sherman, this afternoon we learned that officials from the Centers for Disease Control are here in Houston on the premises looking for any possible health problems. And doctors told us this afternoon one has popped up, and that's diarrhea in children. 90 have been treated so far. As far as the evacuees, they continue to come. And since the dome is full, home for the new arrivals is here at Reliant Center.
Do you have any special dietary needs? Are you diabetic? Are you on special, no medication?
The intake area is the start of life at Reliant Center for these Louisiana evacuees. But it's also the end of a horrific journey. These new arrivals survived the chaos and danger of New Orleans longer than those already here.
You can't hardly explain it. It was terrible. It's crowded, congested. It took us, I think, 15 hours to get here.
When you've gone through so much, it's easy to sleep with the lights on. A cot over were Bianca Jackson and her children, who made it out of the muddy waters and reached the Astrodome. But cramped conditions meant a move to Reliant Center.
It was kind of hard, so I'm glad they moved us over here. We've been through a lot, and I haven't really had no sleep until I got over here.
Just like the dome, here too is a wall for the missing.
Once we get the names from the victim, we post them, yes.
Evacuees put up their names and the names and pictures of lost loved ones. Wade Freeman lives in Houston, but doesn't know what happened to his 2 little daughters.
I haven't spoken to him since the storm began, and I'm just worried about him. I've been looking day after day, just hoping for the best.
But the board provided no answer. Maybe the next group which fills these cots will include his 2 young girls. And we've also learned there are a total of 25,000 evacuees here at Reliant Park and at the George R. Brown Convention Center. We also learned something interesting about the Astrodome this afternoon. Officials say it can be open as a shelter through December of this year. Reporting live from Reliant Park, Mike Zentek, 11 News.
And moving downtown to the George R. Brown, where more evacuees are settling in. That is where we find 11 News reporter Nancy Holland. And Nancy, we understand that there's a call for more supplies for that location.
There is, and the reason for that is that the number of people here at the George R. Brown is very quickly surpassing the number of people who have come to some conventions here. And the number of survivors coming just keeps on growing. As people come here, it becomes more difficult to get very specific supplies. Now, one of the most basic things that people need is, quite frankly, a place just to put their heads instead of the concrete of the convention center.
We need the big chunks of cots. We need the 50, the 100, maybe a local Boy Scouts have 50 or something like that. But the region is being really stressed on cots. We need cots. We can put them here, and some other shelters we're opening up.
And they are telling us tonight that they will take any kind of bedding, air mattresses, anything like that. In fact, one shipment of cots even got a police escort into town. That is how badly they are needed. Now, people from various other organizations are also moving in to try to take care of needs. There's a big push to find apartments and other housing. The school district is trying to get the kids taken care of, and health officials are worried about growing problems of disease, especially with people in such close proximity. Tonight, there are about 2,000 people here at the George R. Brown. There are a couple of more buses that are coming, so that number is just going to grow. Just a few minutes ago, they said that they are really getting so many donations that their warehouses are getting full. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't still need things, but they're asking people not to bring them here to the George R. Brown. I do have a couple of addresses for you, and forgive me for getting to them late. Gulf Haven Church, 10716 Sabo Road will take donations. West Houston Church, 2390 West Sam Houston Parkway at Hammerley, and the Berean Seventh-day Adventist Church at 2119 St. Emmanuel. They still need things, particularly bedding, particularly cots, air mattresses, anything to sleep on, but they can't take it here anymore. Take a look at one of those churches if you have something to donate. Live downtown, Nancy Holland, 11 News.
All right, thank you, Nancy. And coming up later in this newscast, how evacuees are finding comfort by holding on to their faith in this crisis. Thousands of buses are being used to evacuate New Orleans, including 142 school buses from Houston. HISD says that they rolled through waterlogged streets this morning, rescuing survivors, many in wheelchairs. The buses will be back in service when school starts Tuesday, and HISD spokesman Terry Abbott tells us that they will be thoroughly cleaned. My colleague, 11 News anchor Vicente Arenas, is just back from touring the hard-hit St. Bernard Parish just west of New Orleans. And Vicente joins us on the phone with more on what he saw there today. Vicente?
Sherman, we're actually still returning towards Baton Rouge, driving down the highway right now. And what we saw today was nothing short of just a major disaster in that St. Bernard Parish and the community of Chalmette. We're told that so far, confirmed as of the middle of this afternoon, about 65 deaths. The parish president there says that they've ordered 300 body bags. They're not sure how many people are going to be found in the homes there, but they were still doing a search, and a very small percentage of the homes there had even been looked into at this point. So they're going through and they're marking the homes to find out where bodies may still be after Hurricane Katrina came through. The other major news coming out of there, the mayor telling us that there's a major environmental disaster in that community after one of those large oil storage containers split in half after Katrina came through and has left just an incredible amount of oil, a thick sludge, he says, that it's about a mile wide and a mile long, a thick sludge in that community. This is a town that hasn't gotten very much help and is only now starting to get some relief come in from the federal government. There are people from California, people from Canada searching homes. They're trying to help these people cope with what has been just an overwhelming disaster. And on the way back, we saw something very, very touching. We went on a rescue where some elderly people were being rescued from a hospice. They were wrapped up in a gurney. We were on boats. The boats were moving as they were lowering these, steel backboards. These old people just being lowered into boats in a flooded eastern part of Orleans. We're going to have all those pictures tonight today.
All right, thank you, Vicente, and we will hear from you again at 10 o'clock. There is more disturbing news coming out of New Orleans tonight. There has been a shooting involving contractors. A group of contractors working for the Army Corps of Engineers were shot at as they crossed a bridge to fix a broken levee. Police then opened fire on the gunmen. 8 were hit. At least 5 were killed. First reports are that no contractors were injured. Now, not all of the city of New Orleans is underwater. Take the French Quarter, for instance. 11 News reporter Drew Rosegin joins us from that area with stories of people who rode out the storm there.
Everywhere you go in this bombed-out city, there is no doubt who is in control. Every person here, it seems, is either holding an AK-47 or Krispy Kremes.
Making a tremendous difference.
Today, even these tough guys are getting choked up by the stories of survival.
And then they helped me, and she said they delivered me. They delivered me here.
But there is still so much to be done. This interstate off-ramp is now a boat ramp for rescues. And Danny Shaw of San Antonio is one of the big guns out here.
It's only for security.
This area is all Texas Parks and Wildlife. They are armed to the teeth. They have to be, because they don't know if this area is secure.
We have a lot of civilian personnel that are assisting us, and we're not going to send them into an area that we don't know is secure.
These guys made over 1,000 rescues in the last couple of days. Today, they're just looking for pockets of people, and they found a feisty one in 89-year-old Susan Bush. Were you scared?
No, I wasn't scared. Everybody was taking care of me.
There are some places the boats just cannot get to, so the helicopters are in full effect right now. The choppers are everywhere over the skies, and the garbage is everywhere on the streets.
We just need to clean it up. If they can get us water and power, we're fine here.
It'll be a job to rival any post-Mardi Gras cleanup, but when it's done, it'll be a huge relief.
It looks like hell, but you know, it's kind of like you've been out drinking too much on Bourbon Street. You know, you take a shave and wash, and you know, things don't look so bad then.
Coming up on 11 News. Prayers for the hurricane victims at church services across Houston and in the French Quarter there in New Orleans. Plus, the faithful come together in Baton Rouge, mourning those lost and inspiring everyone to help survivors.
And oh God, what our hearts have felt.
This and much more as our coverage of Katrina's aftermath continues. Taking a look outside the Astrodome tonight, Houston's 8th wonder of the world, now temporary home to thousands. And how badly do Houstonians want to help? Well, take a look at this traffic jam. Cars were backed up all around Second Baptist so folks could get to volunteer training sessions. Today alone, more than 10,000 people showed up, overflowing onto the floors. Second Baptist is coordinating a citywide interfaith effort to feed evacuees at the convention center. They've also packed some 16,000 hygiene kits. The mayor and others thanked Houston from the pulpit.
When I was hungry, you fed me. When I was thirsty, you gave me drink. When I was sick, you comforted me. When I was a stranger, you took me in. Aren't we graced by God to be caregivers rather than victims in these circumstances?
Well said. In Katrina's aftermath, evacuees and Houstonians have turned to their places of worship. 11 News reporter Wendell Edwards visited some church services this Sunday and found how faith in a crisis stands strong.
It's Sunday morning at St. Peter Claver in Northeast Houston, and Gwendolyn Garrison finds herself still dazed and confused, but yet thankful.
Gotta praise God. Wouldn't be for him, I wouldn't be here.
At Mass today,
The Lord takes away.
the members of St. Peter Claver opened their arms to God and their hearts to evacuees, trying to make them feel at home, if not thankful for what they do have.
And I know that God will provide for you. The road ahead may be difficult, but God will provide.
And for evacuees who want to go to church but couldn't, here at the George R. Brown Convention Center, officials brought church to them. Inside the convention center, a mass for those needing to worship. It was led by Archbishop Joseph Fiorenza, who says it is times like these when faith is tested the most.
Many people in these times, desperate times, they're wondering why God is allowing this to happen to them. So they have a right to be angry at God, but they have no right to lose faith or hope in God.
A concept Tisha Givens of New Orleans understands all too well.
And I'm thankful that he spared my life, because there's some people still in the city on top of their rooftops.
What some evacuees have found is even in the midst of tragedy, as long as there is life, there will always be hope and faith. Wendell Edwards, 11 News.
And survivors in Louisiana say they have a lot to be grateful for. 11 News reporter Jeff McShann joins us live from Baton Rouge with more on how people there are holding on to their faith. Jeff?
That's right, Sherman. On this first Sunday in September, there are many survivors here in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Many gathered here to gain strength, to search for answers, and basically just to be with one another. Let us go into the house of the Lord. Words from the Bible that were anxiously followed by many in this part of the world today.
Everybody in the house feels the tension, the stress, the anxiety.
All walks of life could be found in church, many sitting side by side. This is Pastor Mark Mitchell from Kenner.
You know, the one thing that we hold on to is our faith in God and our belief and our trust that the Master will bring us through.
Thoughts echoed at Mount Zion in downtown Baton Rouge, where the pastor from First African Baptist Church in New Orleans led everyone in a moving prayer.
There are some this morning that are still on the rooftops. There are some, Lord God, that are still in attics. But we know that you know where they are. And with your outstretched hand, Lord, we ask that you would bring them out.
There were many in houses of worship, all while buses continued taking those that have lost everything out in this part of the world today. Very strange indeed to walk out of the church, cross the river, and see all those buses coming out of New Orleans, Louisiana. I really don't know what to think. But everybody inside the church is safe. They don't know what the future holds, but they're holding on to faith. Live in Baton Rouge, Jeff McShann, 11 News.